I wanted to go over some characteristics of breakouts. Like the ASFX system is built on breakouts and breakdowns when it comes to the D1, right? And I think it's important to also notice what breakouts and breakdowns we should take. And I'm going to show you guys what I look for on breakouts and breakdowns. And this is basically happening on the same trade that I took. So it's almost a take profit. Ooh, 78 more pips and I'm out of the trade at 2R. So I'm going to go here and I teach you basically what I look for breakouts. I'm gonna put like a box here, and this is interesting. These are patterns that I've been looking for. For breakouts, you want a build up area, which is you want to build up for breakouts. Build up. What is a build up? Well, a build up is like a consolidation. So you want to build up for breakouts, right? And when you see price doing this, that's a build up, right? Well, if you're long bias based on the EMAs and the TDI, all you need to do is just wait for the breakup, and basically you're gonna go long here. That's what I look for, basically, because we break above resistance, right? And price is in a build up, right? Can price after the breakup go like this and you didn't take entries? Yes. And it will go like this. Can you take an entry? That's just gonna depend on how strong the trend is. That's a pullback trade. What I like to do is when that pullback happens, I like to see a continuation again to the upside, and I take my entry right here. That's what I like for breakouts. Consolidation, breakup, pullback, and continuation. That's what you want for breakouts. Same thing. If you want to go short, it's the same thing. If you're short bias based on the EMAs, you wait for the build up, right, to just work, and you take the breakdown of an EMA, of whatever you want. And if it extends, wait for retest. If you want to take that retest, that's like trying to like catch the falling knife. But if it's a strong trend, I will understand. But you want to take the continuation of that build up breakout play. Okay. What the most important things about breakouts build up is, these are the characteristics. Higher lows into resistance, it is a sign of strength. So you go long. Why would that be? Well, let's say price is in a build-up, higher high, higher low, high, higher low. It keeps making higher lows into this resistance, right? What do you think is happening here? Well, resistance, people are selling and some of them are taking profits. So that's why you're going to see price kind of falling, right? Well, when price goes like this, what do you think it happens? The sellers that were here, they will have to do two things. They will have to cover their shorts and flip positions to the upside, and their stop loss are going to get hit. Meaning, this is why breakouts, they tend to just rip when it's like this, okay? And if I go right now with UF, my trade, what was happening here? This is perfect because it's exactly what I traded. What is price doing here? Higher lows, higher lows, higher lows into this resistance. When I saw that price broke above for a new higher day at the resistance, I'm like, buyers are here. Took my entry, and what happens? The buying force just goes. There's no sellers. Even with this bearish divergence building for weeks, that's a great characteristic of a build up, higher lows into resistance, go long. You guys can see this is like a little build up, higher lows into resistance, go long. Same thing with going short.
I see here that I'm looking for short entries, and if you remember my market recap from Thursday last week, I took 2 D1 short on the 6th and 7th. So straight away I know I was looking for shorts and potential D1 with the on the 1 minute. So I quickly drop down to the 1 minute and I am scouring for the bearish divergence, and we get it to start to form around about 8 o'clock. So 10 to 8, we create our RSI high. So let me just blow this up for you so it's a little bit clearer. So again, and I'll go through it once more, and for people that are new to ASFX, if you're watching this and you're not familiar with the D1s, I'll just give you a quick recap of what we look for. So we're looking for bearish divergence on the 1 minute, and the way that we draw divergence is from the RSI high to price action high. So the RSI high is here, price action high is here, and we draw a line between them two. And what we're looking for is we're looking for the lines to be in opposing direction. So you can see here that price action is rising and the RSI is falling. So that gives us the signal that we're looking for shorts. And the important thing with the D1s is we need to wait for the 8 and 21 shift on the 15 minute, and then once we get that, we can look for the safe entry signal. So I'll just go back to the 15 minute. I'll mark out where we get that shift for us. So you can see here that we're pulling back to this 50 EMA. We've got the L50 in the sell zone, and so you can see here when I draw this divergence that we've got the 8 and 21 in an upshift. So we really are waiting and we're having to be patient. We can't just take a short here because there's divergence. That doesn't work. And then what we're trying to do is just wait for this to move down, give us confirmation, and then we can look to take some shorts. So if I go back to this morning's 1 minute, so you'll remember we've got the divergence. The shift happens around about here on the 15 minute. So once we get that, we are looking for the safe entry. So if you are in ASFX, then go to the D1 and go to the bonus section at the end, and you'll find the video around the D1 safe entry. If you're not in ASFX, I'll talk you through it now. But if you do want to find out more, please go to the ASFX website where you can get a link to all of the courses. So I'm looking for a 50 EMA retest with the L50 in the sell zone here. And the L50 is this yellow line, and it's below the value of 50. So anything below 50, we're looking for shorts. Anything above them, we're looking for longs. So the L50 is at 43, and we break above this 50 EMA, we break back through, and that is when I get my entry signal. So I enter right on this candle here at 10 AM. So you can see I've had to be patient and wait for this entry signal. Divergence started to form at around about 8:30 when we get this price action break here with the lower RSI point. So I'm having to wait an hour and a half from this point to get my entry signal. I put my stop above this 800 EMA, which is the 15 minute 50, and above structure high. So I want to make sure that my stop is above here, because if price goes above this, my trade idea is invalidated. As with most of my entries, whether it's an A2 or a D1, I'm looking for price to hold. I'm trying to take it in trend, and trending markets are lower lows, lower highs, higher lows. So I want structure to hold in my entries when I'm taking trending ASFX entries with the D1 or the A2. So I enter here, I put my stop above here, and I entered this one for a little bit of a larger size. I entered this for 0.75%, and that's because it's a D1. So for those of you that don't know, I feel like I specialize in the D1 of all the ASFX entries. It's the one that I'm most confident in. It's allowed me to get funded. It's allowed me to make some reasonable profits over the last few months. And
okay, perfect. So this was my first trade on the Dow Jones. So you can see Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. This is my first trade. The open comes in here and moves up, and it creates this nice this is on the 1 minute. It creates nice a nice lower high off the 1 minute 200. So I ended up getting in on this 50 EMA retest. I was expecting it to obviously move a bit lower, but it did pull back up. I still liked it. It looked like I wanted to make a move nicely, but then I ended up pulling it as it came up. I like on these 1 minutes to get the follow through. If it wants to work out, it should be moving down almost like immediately, right, with the follow through to the downside. So that's why I ended up pulling it here back up. I would have been stopped out anyway. So I think I managed it well. A 1 minute L50 in the sell zone, but creating this lower high with a 15 minute 8 and 21 in a downshift. I ended up getting back in, as you can see. But if we go back to so this is my second entry. So I ended up getting back in here, and this goes almost 2R for me, and I pieced my way out nicely on the re-entry, as I've noted up here. So I ended the day positive. I had 0.3% risk on both. I ended up taking almost the full stop on the first entry, but not. It was like 0.2 or whatever, and then I ended up getting a nice little win on this one. So ended up there, as you saw, 0.18. So it was a nice way to, even after the loss, come back and then they're positive. Now, also, one thing I also want to touch on is that the percentages are all that count, because 0.18% could be like $1,800, it could be $180, it could be $1.8 million. So yeah, percentages are all that count. So that's what I would say. Again, when focusing on trading, as I said on the last stream with the quote, processes are the way to stay focused on, and percentages are process focused. Morning, Tom. How are you this morning, bro? And then Lee says, no, I'm waiting for the shift on EU, but I'm siding with EU as well. Yep, 100%. Yep, I agree with you, Lee. Yep. Yeah, EU's in the downshift and GU is not already. Just to clarify, EU is in the downshift. That's why I also GU was not in a 50-minute downshift, but EU was. That's why I said I liked EU better as well. So even with the divergence, yep, that's why I like EU better. Although I do like trading GU more over EU. EU looks better as it's already in a 50-minute downshift. Okay, cool. So I just want to go over, and then the 15-minute chart looked like this. So as you saw, it broke this price zone, and it just was holding that 15-minute 8 and 21 downshift. Ended up just tanking. So yeah, direction bias was good. I think I managed the first trade well. Maybe I was trading too close to open. That was about like 6-7 minutes after open. Maybe I should have waited a couple more, but really, really nice. I thought I had a good read on it and did well to come out positive.
So this morning on GBP AUD, we'll start with the 15-minute. On the right side here, I'll blow it up. You'll see market sentiment is very bearish. We had a nice move down yesterday, finished bearish yesterday. Even the previous day on Wednesday, a strong move down in the Asian session. This is an Australian dollar pair, so naturally this can give you some momentum in the Asian session. As you see last night, some movement to the downside here as well. So with that perfect market sentiment line, we definitely want to stay bearish today. It does pull all the way back up to the 200 EMA, but doesn't break above it, setting in a lower high comparative to the structure from yesterday. So seeing that we're still holding the lower high and making lower lows, we're still in a downtrend, we're waiting then to get a signal to take this thing short. Now, if I was trading today, I would potentially justify putting a position onto this trade, especially as it's now come lower with a new lower low. I think that if it can hit the 50 EMA here again and give you another entry, with this 1 minute L50 falling over, this is in a pretty bearish position right now. So the reason why I have the entry idea marked here at 8 o'clock is because this is where the first really good D1 signal presents. So if you're new to ASFX or you haven't taken the courses, listen up. This is important. If we blow up the 1 minute, you'll see the bearish divergence on top. That bearish divergence is what starts the D1 idea. You can see from there we set in lower highs. Here, here, and then here. Right? So now, as we develop into the morning, what we're waiting for, why we're not taking a short up here, is we're waiting for the 15 minute to have the 8 and 21 EMAs cross down. Because if we're going to go short with the 8 above the 21, sometimes, I think more often than not, that 8 and 21 will hold that upshift, we call it, and continue higher. So it's way more probabilistic if you wait until it shifts down. And we've talked about that a lot this week on the streams. So waiting for the downshift, this is the first retest on the 1 minute 50 EMA with it in a downshift that you could use with measurable risk to the previous lower high. Use this as the entry to take it lower and ride this downshift hopefully to low of day if you're short. That's 2.3R. That'd be a great trade. But that's how we read the D1. So we see the bigger structure on the 15-minute. We see it coming off the 200 EMA. We wait for the 15-minute to move into the downshift, and then we use the 1-minute structure and 1-minute 50 EMAs to find the risk level and the entry point. And then the take profit is, of course, measured based on structure that you see on the 15-minute. Where's low of day? Where's low of week? Things like that. But when there's a downshift like this, you also want to be aware of the fact that this could fall lower than that. Now, it is a Friday, so keep that in mind as well. You don't want to be holding trades over the weekend. That's a big no-no. So now that we're at the 50, let's keep an eye on this and see if it can hold this area here and create the lower high, respecting this as the most recent lower high, and maybe it comes back down somewhere off of the entry price for this to come lower. Now, entering off the 8 EMA is sometimes difficult, and I can understand that. And that's why you'll see a lot of people in our group sometimes sit out of D1s that aren't closer to the 50 and the 21 EMAs. And I totally get that. That's personal preference. But this is still readable risk reward that still fits the D1 system. Are there any questions on GBP AUD, or is everybody with me on that so far? We'll come back to this at the end of the stream and see how it looks.